renovations. We built the gauge in 2002, and when it rain goes, it broke down in 2015. It stopped. I'm blaming Ringo. He didn't like it. He broke it. You can see this. The purpose of this is it's bringing me into some of the low water stuff. Also show you some of the years and how the flows go. Right? Pretty obvious. In the wintertime, we get lots of rain, or used to get lots of rain. And in the summertime, you can see September, we get our low times, right? And then it goes up. I used to be able to look at that, and I would swear in court that this lake will never get below 5.5. I've said that before in a meeting. I swear in court that this lake will never get it. But I grew up when it rained. Let's go. Any questions about this? Okay, you're going to see some more data. So everybody, about 15-something years ago, Larry Hammond started talking about low water. We created a low water committee, and we went through this, and it was a good thing. Actually, it didn't manifest anything at that point, but what it did was got your state agencies and everybody aware that we were having low water issues. We came up with this one, is all of a sudden our lake is draining quicker. This is the mouth. This is what we call, locals call a lagoon. I basically grew up here. Bird hunted, fished here, killed frogs, done everything. And at one time, I think only my dog, 7 years ago, I saw something down there that I realized maybe was happening to our lake. Next shot. I was down in the right-hand corner duck hunting. I saw some headlights open up on the sand dune right there by the ocean. And I thought, some stupid hunter's in the wrong spot. They can't, that's actually closed access for snowy plovers. Lights came on. It was a U.S. Forest Service DA cat. And they started bulldozing down the seawall on both sides. And that's an attempt to help for snowy plovers. But what it did have, and what we think it had, was very strong unintended consequences of letting the flow go out of our lake quicker than normal. Timnall Lakes is called a sandbar system. Obviously, when the low goes down, just like Elk River and the Sixes, those are sandbar systems. They had a sandbar over them, stopping the flow. We just opened that up. Next shot. So, these guys all got together, and you get Jim Muck. Jim Muck is on the left. He's a natural and fisheries biologist, essential for the success of our Creek project. Al Whitney with a cane, Ringo with a hat, and my engineer, Don Poyer. We went down there to go look at what we thought was happening. That should be a big berm right behind us. I'm showing this for a couple reasons. There's multiple things going on besides just the low water and the lack of rain that's happening down there. I do have a side note on this trip. We came out of there thinking, yeah, this is not good. And we came out of there covered in ticks. I mean, ticks. We were covered in ticks. Oh, I think I almost had 7 or 8 of them, and I had them all over me too. But this is one of the things that you didn't know about. We were down there and we were evaluating what's going on. And we found this is not right. That never was that way growing up. And now that flow goes right over that sand berm, or not even a berm, just flows over the sand. Next. Drought Creek project. Excuse me for a second. You guys see where that's at? We're looking at the wastewater and the wastewater treatment plant, and that is Park Avenue. And right where that little purple writing is, I think you're gonna call that purple, is part of where the Timnall Creek project would be, or is. Next. So, is anybody familiar with Oregon now that putting a dam in is impossible? I mean, does anybody really understand that? John, did you?
I know now.
Okay. So, be thankful, and this is the power of TLA and some of my board members. I'm working on code projects, and there's 2 strong members that are here present. and continued to keep this issue on our work plan. It was work plan item number 46, 10 Mile Creek emergency low water. That's what that's a project to me. But you're two people here, Al and Dee, strong enough to push my board of 14 and keep that damn project in my work plan for years and years and years. You should thank them if you see them. It wouldn't have got done without it. Back. Okay. When we started, this is, I don't see Esterbrook here. We started this, and what we found, this is a survey showing that it is 0% gradient from 10 Mile Creek outlet down to the creek site. 10 Mile Grassroots, does anybody remember them? He was out holding the survey stake and getting those done. So what this showed us was that if we build it, it will be able to hold water. 0 gradient, if it was this gradient, we'd have to build it higher or we'd flood. But at 0 gradient, we could build something here and we could do something. Next. This project went through 5 engineering designs. Everybody thought they knew about the creek project, but this went through 5 engineering designs. No one was going to let it put a dam on this creek. They said no channel spanning logs. They said a lot of no's. The permits were this thick. This is our first design, and I actually like it the best. I think if you were here in 2019, I called this the plug design. We were going to just fill the whole creek up to a certain height for 100 feet. And it was going to block the water going over. I still like that design. Unpermitted. Not allowed by the state and federal government or by the city of Lakeside. You may start, so when people, I'm trying to get across when people said it's not working, boy, you got to understand the kind of work we even got it to get it in. Next. This is design number 3 or 4. Did not get implemented, but we're getting close. Next. This, I think, is maybe it. This may be one of them. So actually, I think that's channel spanning. So I think this is even one before the final one. But now we have 4 logs put across there into the bank, and we're starting to get closer. And I think this stopped because see how that first log is going across all the way the channel? I think they said no. We had to allow fish passage. We couldn't flood the city of Lakeside or everybody on 10 Mile Creek for your lake. So we yanked that one out and put it, I don't think we have another design in here. I think we have a picture. John? Oh, there it is. I think that was 5 designs. And I think TLVP paid for most of those designs. Here's the final one, and some of you have seen it. It's surprising. People come up to me and, hi, Kathy, we're out of food. You'll see it. So, he's got you one up here.
We'll wait. Go ahead and eat, Kathy.
She's a busy lady. Kathy Reese, everyone. Are you going to stay for the show? Anyway, you can see that it's not blocked on the first log. The first log would be on the bottom, going up. It's not all the way across the channel. We alternated left spaces. Okay. Here, now we haven't forgot about our other issue. Our other issue is the U.S. Forest Service is bulldozing the farm on our creek. This is a letter signed by the mayor, the chair of the TLVP, and the president of TLA to the Forest Service. Actually, a very well-written letter. I don't think you can read it. And we tell them to stop and come talk to us. They didn't respond for a year. And I finally got them when we found out that the Park Service actually issues the permit. And so now they're not going to be able to do that again. So we did fix it. Next. Tom is not here. Everybody, this is Tom Miller. Tom Miller is the forester for Southport Lumber, the chief forester. He's also a city councilor, and he's almost an old timer. I think he's been over here 30 years, living in Coos County. He is another reason why we have the creek project. He came out of nowhere in Southport Lumber and FIA or Old Menasha donating these trees for us. We actually had to get waivers from the Oregon Department of Forestry because they were wildlife trees, left for wildlife trees, and we were able to take them with that man's help. He also got us, you know, the equipment and bringing, they got all the logs for us and handled all of the transport of the logs to the site. That's a 5:30 picture. He got us up every morning, you know, when we did it, it was early. Next.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
just to be clear, you said the state is no longer going to block the berm?
The U.S. Forest Service.
US Forest Service?
Yeah.
So, will that,
I don't know.
you don't know?
That's-
Well,
I do know that it happened when I first saw it, it was in 2015. And all of a sudden we had record lows.
yeah.
So we'll find out. We'll
It'll
find out.
probably take
You
years.
know, actually that berm builds up real quick. If you leave it alone, the ocean will build that berm up real quick. Yeah, and they're not gonna do that again. Here's some trouble. There's that guy, look at, I like the younger picture in the patio boat, but look at that beard. And this is at 5:30, and I think that's a damn beer in your hand, John.
It's called Cook.
Is that a beer? So we got Ken Roberts and Dennis and Jim and Ringo, and that looks like a beer. Jim, is that a beer?
I think it's beer.
I think it's beer. At 5:30 in the morning, showing up, and boy, these guys showed up with chainsaws, and we were supposed to limb up these things. I just stayed out of the way. Some other heroes that actually they got up early and went to this logging, and they were there all the way with us. So good job, guys. Ringo, you look much better with that trimmed down. This, I think, is a beginning shot of where we're going to put the creek project. The log in that photo on the bottom left actually ended up in the number 4 log slot. It actually ended up adding to the bottom of the project. Go ahead. So, I think all you know of it, Ringo, Al, and everybody got together, and I don't know if people in this room, but I think, Debbie, correct me, $78,000 were donated to implement this project. Is that right? $80,000. And for those of you that did that, awesome. Wow. Wow. And John, well done, and Kathy, well done. I mean, that motivated me. I knew we had to do something, you guys got that money. So TLDP does what we did. We put an RFP out. We don't just, we do everything legal because we're sort of quasi-government. And we had bids and quotes. Johnson Rock won the bid. And last year, we started implementing it a little right about maybe this time. I do remember it was right when the fires hit us, pretty close, or right before that. I don't know whether we're putting in log 1 or log 2. They're pretty doggone big logs. Each log is into the bank 25 feet, buried into the bank, with probably a load of 3-foot boulders. So they probably got 5 tons of boulders on each log. We cannot have those logs move. There's a railroad track down there. And by the way, Al and Debbie don't talk about it, but the landowner of this property, the city of Lakeside, is still requiring TLA to pay liability for this. So the TLA needs your help. They're still spending money of that $80,000 to pay for insurance as required by the city. This was a neat project. I mean, it was, you can see on the bottom right, you can see where number 1 log is, and you can see the rock in there. So, I mean, we really did an overkill on that. Next. This I think probably middle spring when the water's still going over the log, I think that's probably 7 feet. The one thing, I'll use this picture to point things out. The ditch side on the left, that's a drainage way on your left, the water going a little bit the other way from the creek. I wish I had my pointer working, but can everybody see that one a little bit on the left? That's actually a drainage relief. So the city illegally cut that in the 70s when they were flooding. and they cut that out to let water get down there quicker. We knew it was at a 10-foot elevation. We know, and we also set the logs, we could not set the logs at 10 feet. Everybody keeps coming, and there was restrictions. We couldn't just throw it up at 10 feet. If we would have put the logs at 10 feet, we would have flooded the wastewater plant. So we had some restrictions on this site. The one thing I can say, I've built over 80 bridges, miles and miles of fencing, electronic signs and kayak launches, and I've never had a project going on underwater for 4 months of the year. It makes me nervous. I mean, I can't tell you how nervous that made me. I did not want, and this is the water creek level or lake levels at 14 feet. We're looking downstream. The left side is that drainage way. So it's functioning. We had to have that function. Believe me, folks, you guys wanted the water in your lake. The people on the creek told me if I flooded them, they were going to sue us. So, I mean, I'm trying to get the other uses that we had to work with to get this project in. One of the posts, we put these posts in because the sewer guys can't drive their tractor by finding the road. The other requirement was we built a road across this drainage way. First time in 5 years they were able to mow their irrigation fields, which they're supposed to. They couldn't access it. So the Creek project had a couple of objectives, and that was a good one. Next. Now we talked a little bit about it here. The top left is Coos County Commissioner's declaration of a severe drought in Coos County. I can't even believe I'm saying that. You know, in the 70s, that's why we all had teenage pregnancies, because it's raining so much. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. And then the right. The right is severe, that's actually outdated, I think. They just changed this to severe drought in Coos County. So that's what we're working with, right? When we came in with this project, and we have no water coming down and severe droughts. Next. Now this one, we kind of slowed down and put this together. Although I was busy cooking and I did not get to get the 2021, but I agree, I think Jim said it's at 4.9 and fluctuating. So you can see the first 5.71, you can see how it ranges, and then at 2015, wham, I just got perjury in court. I mean, I said it is never going to get below 5 feet. And it went down. Docks were breaking. Ramps were breaking. Everybody's blaming Mayor. Tar and feather that guy. And also remember in 2015, that's when we first identified when the Forest Service was down there digging. So we had a low year. Boy, you could talk to the resorts and how that got to us, and maybe even some of you out here have a broken dock because of that year. 2016, even lower. I'm about ready to move to Alaska when I'm looking at this stuff. I mean, it's kind of scary. Then on 2017, kind of back up again, back up to 5.75 in 2020. And then this year, it's about 4.9. Back, not here yet. So, did the creek project have an impact?
Yes.
It did, but we still monitoring it, and we still need to do a couple fixes on it. But at this point in time, I'm going to say that it definitely slowed down the flow, because if we had, I think if we had it, it didn't have it, we could be down to 3.6. Right? Remember, all those, I picked that because August 21st. Those are dates for all August 21st. Same day, today. So I think we're going to watch and learn. We're going to adapt. That's what TLDP does. If we need to adjust the project, again, we're under limitations. And I can tell you there was one thing that changed. I put a big rock in the first hole. So, I mean, I can still go to jail for that if they find out. I hope they're not here. But there we are, and next time I'll have it up to 221. But any questions on that? That's the only spot we have our data. Now maybe we'll know in another month if it keeps going down. I'm kind of sad that it went down below 5.
Peter,
Yes.
sorry to keep interrupting.
No, that's okay.
But actually, the water level right now is below that, uppermost log's cut, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so it's.
Well, it's going down, it's actually kind of slipping underneath it a little bit. The top of the log's at 6 feet.
Right.
So that was the top of the rocks, 5'5". And so that's probably about, unless we do another change, that's about what we're gonna try to keep it at when it gets real low.
Right, once you do the fixes.
Yes, I mean, when we do the
It should
fix,
be lower than it is now.
yes, sir, when we get the fix, it should go back up to 5'5", but we close that hole and make it go over that rock the way it's supposed to around the first log. Yes, sir,
Good job.
we're trying.
You know, Mike, I've been keeping detailed logs for the last couple of years, and especially knowing that the creek project could get done. And watching it over the last month, it has slowed dramatically. Compared to last year, even though it was higher last year, it dropped faster. And it's been, I mean, there was, the last couple of weeks, it didn't even drop a 1/10 of a foot. And without the creek project, I know that we'd be really low scared.
I would agree with that too. I said it didn't, the last month it really didn't drop. So I think folks, you didn't waste your money. I think, we have to adapt, with the conditions that we built. If I would have built a concrete bridge, fine, but there's nobody ever gonna let us do that. So we did our best and we'll still adapt. And we'll see.
Just add water after that.
Well, yeah, everybody pray for rain. Next.